What is going down, Sourdough Squad? How are we doing today on this beautiful Friday of off-season conversations? And guess what? We still have plenty of talk. We still have plenty to talk about. My goodness, there is no shortage of things to talk about. More reports, more rumors, more speculation, and guess what? A lot of it around the quarterback position. So we're gonna get into it. You know the vibes. Hit that like button. Drop an SDS in the chat if you're vibing with your boy. Shout out Residency, bro. I'm telling you, man, these beanies are so good. Quality, just quality stuff from my friends over there at Residency, man. These guys, this thing is it's really nice. It's not, it's really nice. So you want to get yours, you know the vibes. Go to residency.com, use the promo code DSF9ers. Get yours as well. Get your off-season beards going because you know what time it is. We see the whole squad in here, and let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So today, just like any other day in 49ers, I'm just going to start calling it the metaverse at this point. There's going to be a lot of off-season conversation. It Smoke season, ladies and gentlemen, is in full swing. We are here to talk about all the rumors. We are here to talk about all the craziness. And, you know, we had some reports from kind of surface about Trey Lance, his development last season. We're hearing more Brady stuff. It's nonstop. It's nonstop. So we're here to talk about it. We're here to go through it all. Because smoke season is heavy. Make sure you got your ventilators. Make sure you got your air systems because the smoke is coming in hot, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? Your boy will be here to talk about it all. So I'm excited. Let's talk about some of the Trey Lance stuff. Let's see if buy or sell, right? We understand that not everything that we hear is true. Not everything that we hear is factual. So we will come at this from a buy or sell perspective. Are we buying? Are we selling? Do we think it's of viable? Does it viable source? Does it have legs? So that's kind of what we're going to go through. So let's go through some of the Trey Lance stuff that we figured out. Let's go, JC. Welcome. Welcome to the Mod Squad. Welcome to the Mod Squad. Um so gotta love it. Gotta love it. But hey, we got some stuff to talk about. We got some stuff to talk about. So right away, what we got, I think it was actually a little bit late last night. We heard from Jim Trotter, NFL reporter. He went on to NFL Network to discuss the 49ers quarterback situation. Citing sources, Trotter said the 49ers considered naming Lance the starter during training camp before the rookie suffered an injury in late August and lost the role to veteran Jimmy Garoppolo. So interesting, right? So kind of so far, again, if you're new, you know, if you're new to the show, it's this time. It's this time. It's tinfoil hat time. So we're going to talk about some of the tinfoil hat theories that we have surrounding everything, because again, that's what we do. We look at it from all angles. We're going to assess it from all angles, and we're going to see what makes most sense, and what it doesn't have to make sense either, which is part of the beauty of it. The thick sourdough. We see you, thick boys unite. But let's go back. Let's do a little bit revisionist history. Let's run it back a little bit, because you know I was at training camp. I had the fortunate ability to actually be at training camp for consecutive days in a row. I think we did. I think I personally did a total of close to 10 days at training camp last year. I was at practice the first day they put pads on, and basically there throughout. So I got to see Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance in training camp every single day, going back and forth, going back and forth. And if you were rocking with the stream, uh, you would understand that I felt heavily that Trey Lance was capable, at least from a talent perspective. That from a pure talent perspective, when you were looking at Jimmy Garoppolo on the same exact field where Trey Lance is, and you're seeing them go back and forth, it's actually it's really easy to kind of compare and contrast because you can see one quarterback whose physical tools are standing out. Defense, the 49ers defense had a real hard time stopping the zone read uh, early in training camp with Trey Lance last year. The zone read was very difficult for the 49ers defense to stop. It was at a point where Trey was just running wild. It felt like they were biting on the zone read fakes. It was, and then you're also seeing some of those same throws that we saw the other day from Javi when he dropped those on the timeline, the crazy off-platform throws. One of the craziest throws from Trey Lance was like, we saw crazier ones in front of us than the ones that were actually shown on those clips. There was one, I know the 49ers eventually posted a highlight of it, but it was Trey Lance rolling to his left, throwing a dart, absolute dime to Trent Sherfield, dropped it in the bucket, like a 50-yard pass, all the way down the field over a defender. So we were seeing that live while at training camp. And you guys knew, I'm not in the locker room. So I'm not evaluating from, hey, Jimmy Garoppolo is my teammate, Trey Lance is my teammate. Now let me evaluate. It's not what I was doing. I was evaluating purely on what I'm seeing on the field. Now we understand as it's progressed, a big part of Jimmy Garoppolo maintaining being the starter is his presence as a leader, what he did. Um, in that locker room, the way people respected him in that franchise, in that locker room, that's a big part of it. The human element was a big, big part of it. Squirrel, hold on one second. Um, Coach Jaw. So this is coming from Matt Barrows right now. He says the 49ers have offered wide receiver coach job to quality control coach Leonard Hankerson, former NFL wideout, was a wide receiver coach for Stephen F. Austin University and the University of Massachusetts before joining the 49ers in 2021. So that's interesting. It's just an offering. It's not an actual signing. Just to clarify. So just wanted to talk about that. That just came across. So potentially Leonard Hankerson could be the 49ers wide receiver coach. We will find out. I guess he was on the staff last year. I remember him as a player. I remember him as a player who's okay. But hey, could be a better coach. But anyways, back to the conversation at hand about Trey Lance, training camp, evaluations. Now the story coming out about potentially starting the man Trey Lance as a rookie. This was also part of the report. I believe NBC Sports Bay Area is the source who transcribed this and put it out. And Jim Trotter went on to say there was even a discussion about possibly starting him at the final game of the season as well. But ultimately, the team decided that Jimmy had led them to that point and they were going to stay there. And that's what they did. So it does sound like there were not just at the beginning of the year, there sounds like there was another opportunity at the end of the year to potentially get Trey in there. So it's interesting, and again, this one is actually back to earlier in the preseason. He says Trey was in consideration actually to start going into the season until he got hurt in that preseason game where he injured his index finger on his throwing hand. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Uh, the timing of this, the fact that, clearly that's shared information. Again, when we're coming from high level journalists at this point, they have to go through a process. They're not like these clickbaiters. They're not like aggregators like myself who just throw stuff against the wall. They have to have proper sourcing. There, it has to meet multiple levels of credibility before they can say stuff like that. So clearly it has, and it's been green lighted and approved to be said. Okay, why is it being said? Because we're now transitioning off this narrative switch from Trey Lance isn't ready to everyone's now kind of back to being excited about Trey Lance. Now today, we're also getting Tom Brady whisperings going on. So that is going to be something that we'll talk about in a second. But Niner by Nature says, how many QBs in the NFL can make those throws? Well, we were kind of running down the list yesterday. It's guys like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, maybe Matthew Stafford. You could, Lamar Jackson's. There's a young crop. Hey, Justin Fields, the younger crop is going to be able to make those kinds of throws. I think it's more ingrained into them to be able to make off-platform throws. Um, Especially since the training is so much different now than it was 10, 15 years ago. Um, so it's gonna be crazy. Taylor Allen says that dude Troy Anderson was out here at the Senior Bowl. Um, yes. Yes, he was. Let's see, what else do we got? And just an FYI, I'm not missing super chats all the time. All the time. Not all the time. Sometimes I will be in the middle of saying something. So I'll wait till I'm done saying it to pull up the super chat. I don't miss them every time. But sometimes I gotta be a little strategic with when I bring something up. Taylor says, lots of talk about Christian Watson, but do you think Niners will look at NDSU tight end to maximize two tight end sets? I think he's better. He's a better add to the offense than Watson. Yes, I think two tight end sets because, again, if you go back to Trey Lance at Arizona, the game against Arizona, and you go to the game against the Texans, Kyle likes running two tight end sets. There's this formation that he loves with Trey, where you have your offensive line set up and you run two tight ends flanked right next to each other on the line of scrimmage, hand in the dirt. He loved running that, and so especially with Trey Lance. And again, if you can have tight ends that can block and catch, they're a weapon. It's again mismatch guys that you uh, are trained to believe they're coming to block you, and then they leak out the backside, and you get a little play action boot. That's how you start to maximize and take advantage of some of these defenses. Um, but back to the conversation at hand that we were talking about. Um, with the whole conversation about Trey Lance potentially starting at the beginning of the year, then he got hurt, almost held on to the Texans job week 17, almost got the job probably around week 7, week 8 of the regular season. So now it's starting to come out that the 49ers have actually been almost started Trey multiple times. That's 3 times that they're admitting to on the year that they had said they're going to potentially start Trey. Um, so what is going to be interesting because also on the heels of that, I think it's becoming more clear as the days go on that a return from Tom Brady could be something that we see. Now, do I know if he's going to be coming to the 49ers? Do I think he will be coming to the 49ers? I don't know. But based on everything that we're seeing, we've got more reports today coming out saying that Tom Brady actually appears to have a bit of a fractured relationship with Bruce Arians. And so now what we're hearing is, well, he's probably retired because he's done with Tampa Bay. And so what essentially he's doing is he's retiring, letting them know he's done playing with them. He's not going to play with them anymore, allows them to start doing what they need to do to move on from Tom, and whether they trade his rights or outright release him, that's what kind of feels like is heading in our direction, at least regarding Tom Brady. It does feel like there is an opportunity where he could play this year. There does feel like there's an opportunity where he's just done with Tampa Bay. And just like we've seen from Gronk, when he talked about how he got traded to Detroit when he was on the Patriots, he just told them he was retired and effectively killed the trade. Um, so I think they've realized there's some power in that. Hey, if I'm retired and I say I'm not going to play for you, then what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it. So I I don't know, other than the fact that it's starting to pick up steam. You compound it with the fact that they're letting you know, hey, well, Trey could have started before the year, he could have started mid-year, and he could have started at the end of the year. So Trey's development, Trey's progress, Trey's skill set, good. He's good. That's kind of what these narratives are moving towards. But then, because let's say back to the tweet that I made when this Tom Brady stuff started going down, I said if the 49ers trade, trade, they already traded to multiple assets to get Trey at number 3 overall. And if they then double down again, make a trade to get a quarterback, it's not the perfect look from an optics standpoint of, hey, Trey Lance is our guy. We're committed to Trey Lance and we're committed to his development, because what have we talked about? We talk about the Josh Allen model where, hey, Josh wasn't perfect year 1 or year 2. It took until year 3 and all those reps and experience and patience for Josh Allen to be the guy that we speak of as one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL today. Um, and so when we look at it through that lens of, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. Okay, we can rationalize and understand Jimmy Garoppolo being on the roster, him getting first opportunity to start, and all those kinds of things. And it kind of fell in line, I feel like, with how the year played out. But again, just tinfoil hat time. Just tinfoil hat time. The narratives that it's changed. It's like it's been completed. So that part of it of, well, Trey Lance isn't ready. Trey Lance is a bust. Trey Lance is not good. Okay, that part of the narrative has kind of been taken care of in a sense, because he could have started week 1. He could have started in the middle of the year. He could have started at the end of the year heading into the playoffs, but it's Jimmy's team. So, and we see the clips and we see the highlight reel ability. Okay, is that a setup for something? Is that a setup? Are you setting me up for something? What are you setting me up for? Are you setting me up for another move? because again, if you can take change that narrative of, hey, we're getting another guy because we don't believe in Trey Lance. If you set up the narrative as we believe in Trey Lance, but we have this beautiful opportunity to bring in Tom Brady, the GOAT, and win one ring with his childhood. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's the outcome. I'm not saying that's the case. But if we are going to tinfoil hat it, and we are going to look at how narratives play out, why narratives play out, it's leading towards that. It's leading towards a potential, not the overall outcome, just a potential that could be an outcome. So that if and when, let's just say the 49ers traded for the rights of Tom Brady or they got Tom Brady, there's already a narrative that exists of, well, he's good. He could have started last year. He could have done this. He could have done that. And then you bring in Tom Brady, and it's like, well, Trey's still good. He could start this year, but it's going to be, it's Brady. What an off season it is. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. What a time to be alive. And I don't put this stuff past anyone. Never say never in the NFL. Never say never. Literally anything can happen. Anything can happen. We are not inside that building. We aren't doing none of that. Like we don't know. So we're just trying, and then we hear the narratives, we see what's being released, why it's being released, when it's being released, and we just try to connect the dots. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Dustin the Gale says if teams commit to stopping the Niners, run and stack the box like the Rams did in the NFC Championship, are the Niners equipped to counter that? It seems like they struggle when dropping back and spread. My answer to this, if Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback, then yeah, they're going to struggle. There seemingly is no like counter to like I don't know. The best way that I could phrase it is it really felt like last year was just limiting as many mistakes as possible. So I know they check out of plays. I know they can them at the line of scrimmage and they switch based on alignment, what they're seeing, what they're doing, and they make shifts and do all that kind of stuff. But understanding Garoppolo and how defenses played against Garoppolo, the 49ers were one-dimensional last year. They got better at, the in the run game. Their run game was the multifaceted aspect of their offense. And we saw against the Rams when they took away the only multifaceted aspect of the offense, which was the run game, it made the passing game extremely one dimensional. And then they just started, and then they have the rush, and that's what they want. They wanted us to be one dimensional. They wanted us to be in a scenario where we had to drop back and pass because they understand if they can get us out of what we want to do, then we are extremely limited. And that's what they did. They got us out of what we wanted to do. And as a result, it made us extremely limited. And unfortunately, when they stack the box, which they do all the time, we seen we have seen time and time again on tape, open wide receivers running deep, um, open shots down the field, past 15, past 20, past 25. Jimmy just wouldn't take it. He just wouldn't take the shots. So it made us very one dimensional. The thing is, though, if we're taking this same thought process and we are transitioning it into Trey Lance offers so much more. He adds a completely different level where safeties are going to have to respect the threat of the deep ball. Defensive coordinators are going to have to respect the threat of the deep ball. They're going to have to respect the threat of run, escapability, using the legs. So Trey Lance, just his skill set alone, should evolve the offense. It should. Um, because I don't think they will be as reliant like they have been on the run game. Do they want to run the football? Absolutely. But now find a world where they can't stop the run. You've got this insanely uh, versatile quarterback who can get out in space, make plays with his legs, go deep on you any single chance he can. And that puts you in conflict. And that's what we want. We still want run first. We still want beat you to the pulp with 30 plus runs a game. But the difference is if someone comes out and says, hey, we're committing all 11 to stop the run, we aren't dead in the water because then we're just forced to throw the ball. And it just unfortunately, based on what we saw, Jimmy was just inconsistent. Like I don't even know. Like Jimmy played really well. I would say probably the best game he played was probably week 10. I mean, at least as a team, they played the best week 10. But, I don't know. I don't know if we got like a full start to finish good Jimmy game this year. We got good game manager Jimmy, but when it was like, all right, we need this thing to, we needed 2019 New Orleans Rams Jimmy. I don't know if we saw that necessarily. No, you're good. It's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point, Hendricks. ATL Jimmy was, I think, the best Jimmy. You're absolutely right. I think ATL Jimmy was the best Jimmy. You're absolutely right. Um, since he wasn't, I wouldn't say since he was because he almost threw should have thrown the game sealing pick. Um, but yes, I would say the Falcons game was Jimmy Garoppolo's best game. So again, the original question at hand is, what are we gonna do? Clearly, um, they started to show how to take advantage of our scheme, and there just really wasn't too many counters off of that. The reason the reason that there weren't counters off of it is because we had a limited quarterback. And they didn't want to put the limited quarterback in a position to make turnover worthy plays. So the hope is that they go away from that because one of the things that makes Kyle so special as a play caller is attacking the opposite of what other teams are giving you. But at a certain point, we were what we were. Jimmy was going to rarely take shots downfield. Now, 10 to 15, Jimmy was, if you removed the issues with underneath linebackers, Jimmy was pretty damn good. 10 to 15 yards, like he's probably top 10 to 15. That's not like hyperbole or anything. Like 10 to 15 yards in the middle of the field, Jimmy's hella good. He really is. Uh, but it's when they take away the middle of the field and they're squatting safeties and they're bracketing coverage and they're just sitting on the underneath. Then we started to see some of the counters off of that where they had the guys come under and they were hitting the outside slants. So it was still short to intermediate. They were just changing the actual point in which they were attacking. So that's about the most that we got from the counters of Jimmy's offense. Okay, they took away the middle. All right, they just went to the outside receivers running slants or something like that. Or they would try to pull what they would do all the time is they'd get Debo, they try to get a safety and a linebacker to flow with him to create space, and they'd come in right under the space, hit Kittle, hit Juice, hit Juwan. So that's how they would get around it. But again, once someone figures that out, then what do you have? Then once they take away your counters to the kind of short to intermediate stuff, then what do you have? So I think that's what the Rams games kind of was. It was just like and again, I started to watch the tape. I didn't like I had no rush to watch that tape. And when I started to get into it, I didn't see an issue with the O line. I didn't see an issue with necessarily play calling. I just saw a defense that knew exactly what they wanted to do and they took it away. They sold out to stop us running our offense from a run scheme perspective. And then at that point, very limited. Your offense becomes extremely limited. If we can't do what our bread and butter was, which was run the football and then be creative off the run, and if they just take that away, that is like 75% of the offense. And so that's kind of what we saw really at the end. And that's why the I think there's excitement with Trey is because if you can keep that dynamic run game, now you put Trey in who can challenge challenge safeties deep. Now you're getting way less single high and you're getting more two high, middle field open, and then you can start to take advantage of all that kind of stuff. So I I just want to see, now we get to my opinions. I just want to see these guys say, Trey Lance, you're the guy, you're it. There's no there's no rumors, there's no nothing. I just want to see Trey Lance 2022. And I think the fan base would actually benefit from seeing Trey Lance 2022 because as you can see, we don't know. Like, we don't know. We don't know. We like we hear Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, it was Deshaun Watson before we even got Trey Lance. It's craziness. So I don't think the fans know what's going on. And that creates dissension. So ultimately, again, kind of how I'm viewing at least today's information, funneling it through my weird brain, then spitting it out on the other side of the tinfoil hat. I see two things that can lead to two different categories. I see a situation where the reports coming out about Trey Lance are supportive of Trey Lance. They are to do that. The Trey Lance 22, they are to like set up the stage. Again, we are living in the narrative driven time of the year. And we understand how today's age works. Someone hears a narrative and they go speaking about it like it's facts. They don't care about the actual information that came behind it. They care about the narrative. So essentially, how I see it is it could be two things. It could be Trey Lance 22. That's why we're hearing he could have started preseason. He could have started middle of the year. He could have started the end of the year because he's that quarterback. He's that guy that we thought he was. That's why we traded everything that we traded for to get him at 3. He's our quarterback next year. And that's the narrative that they're trying to set. Or there's a narrative that exists that they are setting up the stage for a potential move to bring in a veteran quarterback, meanwhile, keeping the narrative straight that the rookie quarterback that they have is good and really good and could have played, should have played multiple times, blah, blah, blah. But hey, Tom Brady fell in our lap. Hey, Tom Brady fell in our lap. So we're going to take this time and we're going to exhaust that option. And that doesn't mean Trey Lance is a bust. That doesn't mean Trey Lance is bad because we understand that's how people will view it. If you make a move, substantial move to a veteran quarterback over Trey, that's how people will view it. Oh, Trey Lance is a bust then. See, we told you Trey Lance isn't ready. Couldn't beat out Jimmy. He's not ready. He's a bust. That's the narrative that could follow that move. So again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying I believe it's going to happen. But we are a ranges of outcome show. And that's what we're talking about today because that is what is out in the verse. So it is what it is. The Jedi says no to Tom Brady. So how about this? Why not? Why not? Let's pull the chat. Would you rather you're going to drop Trey Lance or Brady? Would you rather have Trey Lance or Brady in 2022? Let's check the chat. What does the chat feel like, huh? If we have to poll the chat, Tom Brady or Trey Lance 2022? Tom Brady, Trey Lance 2022. I love this beanie, but it is hot in here. I had to turn the fan on. My goodness. All right, let's see. Let's see what the chat. Let's see what the chat would say. All right, going to the top of the list. I got Brady is old. Jaden says Tom Brady is not coming. Please stop with the nerd. I agree. I agree. I wouldn't put money on it, and I would gladly be wrong on that take. I want Trey, man. Come on. Big Head says, man, Brady should have been here in 2020, but I moved on and I want Lance. Yeah, that's really what it feels like. You had an opportunity, you missed it. Please don't go back. Please don't go back. But we'll see. Tyke says, I'd love to see Tom Brady for a year, but given the record with coaches, you think it will work with Kyle's ego? I don't know. It clearly didn't seem to work with Bruce Arians' ego, so we're going to find out. We are going to find out. We got the Jedi says old. Joyce says he's old. Niner by Nature says we don't need Tom Brady. He has his legacy. Lance, old. Okay, no. Brady will be a turnover machine. Hell nah, give me Lance. Trey Lance. Trey Lance. Eduardo says Brady. Jedi says old. Josh says no. Dustin the Gale says, if we have to adjust our scheme during certain games to be more pass heavy, will our offensive line be able to handle the pass blocking, or will we still be at a disadvantage? I mean, it's actually hard to answer this question because we don't know if Laken Tomlinson's coming back next year. Like, honestly, like if I had to throw a percentage on it, it feels like 20% he returns. Like, that's just the feel. I would love to have Laken Tomlinson back, but if I had to put a feel percentage on it, it feels like 20%. Like, it feels like we're going to be saying, love you, Laken. Good luck in Miami. That's what it feels like. So, not saying that's the case, not saying that's actually happening. That's what it feels like. So let's say that is the case, and we're saying, see you later, Lake. Enjoy the warm weather in Florida. Mac retires. Brunskill's a restricted free agent. And McGlinchey, we don't know. We just don't know what the injury's like. So it's hard to answer that question because we literally have an incomplete offensive line unless you're going Trent Williams, Aaron Banks. You shift Brunskill to center. I think our backups are free agents too. So we might not even have backups under contract. I don't think Brendel's under contract, and I'm not positive about Compton. So the easy answer right now to this question is no. If the 49ers were forced to be a drop back passing team where run isn't the main point of emphasis and they are built like an Andy Reid Chiefs led team, I don't think so. But again, there's so many questions. It's really hard to answer the question, objectively. No, so we're still on the Tom Brady stuff. So far, the chat is pretty in favor of Trey Lance. We got Clint rocking out with Tom Brady, but for the most part, Red Eye says but this comes with an if Kyle loses his ego, Tom Brady. What if he doesn't lose his ego? We see Kyle, man. Kyle goes nuts on the sideline. He goes crazy. He's a perfectionist, but he's a hard ass. He's a perfectionist and a hard ass at the same time. I wonder how that would go. Beastbrook says if Brady wants back, Brady, if not Trey. You have to go with Brady, says Clint. Jaden says it's the start of a new era. Aloha Smitty says Trey 2022. Lance. Mohammed wants Tom Brady. Trey. Lance. He's old. Adam Sandler voice. Nice. 2-quarterback system. There you go. JC says Lance. I don't know about Brady now. Brady 2 years ago is a no-brainer. Clint says it's destiny. Sweet heavens, no Tom Brady. Trey Lance. All right, so it looks pretty. It looks heavily in favor so far of Trey Lance, but I do know this is a pretty dynamic topic, and that there are a lot of people on the other side like this who say Lance is gonna bust, all that kind of stuff. Okay, sorry, I'm catching up. You guys know how I be. I get behind a little bit. Someone said they wanted the beanie. I got you. If you want the beanie, head to residency.com. Use the promo code DSF9ers. Get all your gear. Get a little discount. Do what you do. But yeah, so I would say the chat is leaning in favor of Trey, and I feel it should be. Again, I'm a big developmental guy. Big developmental guy. And I'm an admitted ageist. I don't like old players. Again, I was actually, we're being 100%, 50 million% honest, Alex Mack was one of my favorite players, and that started at Cal. You see the Cal banner behind me. Cal's in my backyard. They're the team that I'm going to root for. From a college perspective, Alex Mack was a center when I was starting to play college. He was someone that I looked up to. And when he was floated around in free agency, I was like, yeah, but he's old. I was like, I love Alex Mack. He's literally one of my favorite players of all time. Just as someone who played offensive line and looked up to Mack and tried to model my game after Mack, and has followed his entire career, I was even like, yeah, but he's old. 35? I was like, I'd rather draft a center, of course, right? So you're going to see with me, that's how I am. If it comes to me, I'm looking to develop. I like the long game. But we also understand too, we also have to preface it with the NFL stands for not for long for a reason. You don't know how long coaches are going to be sticking around. You don't know how long really you're going to have your job for. So do you want developmental guys? Do you want guys that take time to get to the level that you know they are capable of being, but just understand that it takes time? So it's a double-edged sword with the NFL. And that's why, I'm happy the USFL is coming up. The NFL needs a developmental league. It just has to happen. But back to the kind of point that I was making is I'm an ageist. Like 45-year-old Tom Brady, like on one side of it, I can rationalize it. If we get the same Tom Brady that showed out at 44 and he came in and he fit and was accepted by the locker room and him and Kyle got along and they were able to win games and potentially win a championship, of course, any fan can rationalize that. But at the end of the day, is that creating an environment of belief into Trey? That we believe in you, Trey. Trey, you're going to be the guy. You're going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but not right now. I just I'm worried about the kid. I'm worried about the kid. I want, and again, I call him a kid. I'm aging myself. I'm just over 10 years older than he is. So to me, he's a kid. But man, I want a sense of belief. A sense of belief. Let's see. Cash the God says you cannot call Trey a bust within his first 2 seasons. What are you talking about? Yeah. How can you call him a bust? How can you call Trey Lance a bust? Even if you don't like Trey Lance, that's fine. But how can you justify calling him a bust? You can't. You can't do it. Can't do it. What's good, Luke? But yeah, again, it's off season, so you know the vibes. There's an underbelly picking up of Tom Brady, and it's going. Guess what? Probably in the next day or two. Maybe not, what's today's Friday, so I would say about Monday, Tuesday. There's going to be a whole nother cycle of talking points, specifically around the 49ers. So, hey, and guess what? We're going to be here to talk about it. We are going to be able to talk about it. Smash that like button. It is absolutely free. I like that. It's free. Costs you nothing. Costs you nothing. Can't do it. We want winners. Shout out best coach in 49ers history. If we lose Lankin, what do you think of the idea of moving McGlinch to guard and going after a tackle in the offseason? McGlinchey at right tackle in the pass game, essentially yikes emoji. Well, see, this is my thing. Is like you guys know, I'm gonna be one of the biggest Mike McGlinchey defenders. I'll stand up for Big Mike any chance that I get. As someone who feels qualified to talk about Mike, as I studied every rep of him this year. Could it happen? Yes. But do you want it to happen? Probably not. I don't think he would want it. I would prefer to keep him at right tackle, the position that he plays and is comfortable with. Clearly, if he's healthy, that's just going to be the key factor here. Is he healthy? Because if he's healthy, I saw him get better. Again, we saw a shift in the offense, and a big part of that came from kind of Tom Compton's weakness, which is straight drop back passing or pass sets. And as you saw, he gets off balance quite a bit. Mike, he improved so much. I wish he got the full year. I wish he got the full year, especially when they started doing better, because I think he would have got better. I think he would have still kept improving. The biggest thing with Mike is he wasn't a liability last year in pass protection. He wasn't. People will make it out to be that, and they will pull 2020 where he was a liability in 2020, and they will roll that narrative into 2021, but the tape just doesn't back it. The tape doesn't back it. He did a really good job in pass protection. He did a pretty, I would say he wasn't as dominant as he's been in the past as a run blocker, but I'm okay with that because he was still good, and he was able to improve as a pass blocker. And wasn't a liability. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of moving guys. If you're right tackle, you're right tackle. If you're guard, you're guard. If you're center, you're center. The only positions to me that are really um, interchangeable are going to be center guard. The interior versus the outside are different worlds. So, like, that's again, same concept goes from people saying Jalen Moore should be a guard. He's not a guard. He's not built to be a guard. He's absolutely a natural tackle and should stay out on the edge on the outside. Taking a guy who's not very solid at run blocking and kicking him to a position where that's what he has to do the most and taking away the natural ability of him as a pass blocker is counterproductive. So we don't want to do those things. We want to play to our players' strengths. Jalen Moore's strength is at tackle. It is not at guard. I missed this one. The Jedi says, the Tom scenario has too many ifs. Sir Lance is my guy. I agree. There's a lot of ifs with the Tom Brady is pure ifs at this point. The Tom Brady thing is pure speculation. Pure speculation. But hey, we're tracking. So we're tracking it. Doesn't mean that we are buying it. Doesn't mean that we believe it. Doesn't mean that we think it will happen. However, if you don't identify it and you don't pinpoint it, then that's how you get caught off guard. So that's not we agree. I think a lot of us are in agreement with this comment. But just understand what we do here. We're tracking, we're identifying behaviors, and so we can reference back if and when things change. So just something to think about. Just something to think, because we also have a report from 95.7, the game host Mark Willard, who has a source who knows Brady, per what he was talking about, saying that Brady is not even going to come close to the 49ers. Brady hates the 49ers. We talk about ego. Brady's ego apparently has been very hurt by the 49ers. And Brady wants nothing to do with the 49ers and Kyle. So, hey, believe what you want. Doesn't mean we can't pinpoint it, baby. Doesn't mean you can't do it, because this is what it is. That's why we keep the thing on us at all times. You don't want to get surprised, but we'll talk about it. This is facts. This is why business is booming for your boy. I think, we're just so desperate as a fan base. We're desperate for a winner. We're desperate to get back to glory. We're desperate. We've been so close, and that's part of it. We were this close from getting back to glory in 2012. We were this close to getting back to glory in 2019. We were about this close away from getting back to glory this year. I get it. Fans are hungry. They're deprived. They want a winner, a Super Bowl winner. And at this point, some fans, they don't even care. Again, not every fan is going to look at situations through a developmental lens. Not every fan is going to look at this through the human lens. There's a huge portion of the fan base that is just like, I just want to win. I don't care who the players are. I don't care who the coach is. I just want to win. And if they're not winning, I'm going to be pissed. And if they're winning, I'm going to be happy. There's a huge segment of people that literally that's what they do. Just what they do. And so that desperation will come out. Oh, Brady? Oh, Rodgers? Oh, Like just the thought, whoa, like that's part of it. That's part of our fan base. We accept our entire fan base. We do, but that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And I guarantee you, 49ers went if they won the Super Bowl in 2012, if they won a Super Bowl in 2019, if we won the Super Bowl in 2020 or 2021, nobody cares because we got what we wanted. And then we're in chill mode. We're vibing. We're six-time NFL champion San Francisco 49ers. We're on top of the world. Again, if you go back to 2020 and the terrible year that 2020 was, no one would have gave two craps if the 49ers had a crappy 2020 as the 2019 Super Bowl champions. That's what it is. So that's what we start to hear. It starts to pick up. We hear the fan base. They want to win. They'll do anything to win. They will toss their prized third overall pick out the door if the thought process of a championship presents itself in the form of Tom Brady. We have passionate fan base. We have a passionate fan base, and they want to win. And that's okay. But there's different ranges and contextual thought processes for each segment of fan. It's okay. It's okay. And guess what? That's why we talk about it. That's why we talk about it. We want to, again, just talk about it, identify, remember it, mark it. Hey, we addressed it. Now let's see what happens. Okay? That was the whole point of today's episode. Whole point of today's episode is, okay, we're getting some good buzz about Trey. Okay, it's interesting that it's coinciding with buzz around Brady. That's it today. That's all we're doing is we are identifying buzz around Trey, the starting buzz around Trey, the clips, and we're also rationalizing and understanding there's a parallel universe that involves Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, and other moving parts. So it is what it is. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Again, based on the chat that we've seen so far, it does feel like, at least in the Sourdough Squad, feels like they want to stay with Trey Lance. So we'll see, though. Anything can happen. Again, anything can happen. So we'll find out. It's funny though about this thing. I'm not sure I've seen a report or can remember a report where the report is a guy has been offered a job. Not that he's accepted the job, that it was just offered to him. Like, okay, did he accept it? Did he say yes? Did he say no? Or just okay, just he was offered. Okay. All right. Interesting report that someone was offered something. Terrence says this fan base gives up so quick. I'd like to think it's younger MFs who know nothing about loyalty. And to be honest, man, this was something that I noticed when I went full 49er fan around 2009. And, I jumped onto the Niners and started doing draft research and that kind of stuff like I do now in 2009 when the 49ers weren't good. So I was rocking with fans, that that's what that's what life was. We were a poverty franchise for a little while there, and the fans kind of they kind of vibed with that. We all knew we were poverty, but we were the Niners. It was all like that. And then 2010 happened with Singletary, and then we get Harbaugh, and then they start winning. And that 2000 was that 2011 year, 2011, I think. We started to see the trickulation of new fans coming into the fan base. 2012, it went insane because you had Kaepernick explode, you had Jim Harbaugh and his personality explode. The 49ers were the best team, arguably in the NFL, almost won the Super Bowl. The amount of bandwagon fans that jumped on in 2012, and I saw it happen. I saw the influx of new fans come in, and then, but again, they weren't coming in through the context of being kind of a poverty franchise and living through that poverty and like understanding what it meant to suck. And then when the 49ers transitioned to sucking, when Kaepernick wasn't doing well, when Harbaugh wasn't doing well, this fan base went crazy. Again, we're talking about loyalty and things like that. It started around then. It started around the dysfunctional years when you had the bandwagons who then became fans, but then were immediately like bait and switched, and then just got angry and were just mad at Kaepernick. They were mad at Harbaugh. They were mad at Roman. They were mad at Balky. They were mad at Chip. They were mad at Tom, Sula. So it's been a weird situation, but I've watched a lot of it. I've been through multiple ups and downs of fans coming in, fans departing, fans coming in, fans departing. And it's been crazy. It has been crazy. So you get it all. You get it all. And guess what? We're going to have a new wave of younger fans coming in, and they're going to have their own mentality and their own thoughts and how football should be in their minds. So it's been interesting. It's been a very interesting evolution. Luke says, just wanted to show my appreciation for you in both the pod and on a personal level. Keep killing it, fam. Luke, I love you, bro. Appreciate you, man. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all the good vibes. Appreciate everyone vibing with me. You guys are the best. Because at the end of the day, we're just talking football, man. We're just talking football. So again, I think back to how we got spun in this direction. It's just like, there's so many different fans. There's so many different type of fans. There's so many like intersections in which they became a fan that changes their context. Again, I feel like I have the ability to kind of sit back and watch because I remember when we were so bad. I remember when I was super hyped about Mike Singletary. Like, ooh, he won as interim head coach. Guys, he won as the interim head coach. He was a great linebacker. We are going to be amazing. That disappointment. Man, the "We want David Carr" chants across Candlestick. I mean, goodness. Let's go. Welcome to the Sourdough Squad, my boy. Appreciate you subscribing, joining the gang. Nate, good old Nate Davis, Ball State legend. So, I don't know. I'm just saying it from my perspective. At the end of the day, I can only speak from my perspective. And my perspective is, as I witnessed so much bad times, that I guess I'm hardened to these. I don't know. I don't know. Like, to me, I'm like, dude, we got Trey Lance. We got one of the best coaches in the NFL. Clearly has proven time and time again that he will adapt to whatever he has around him. They find a way to get it done. The locker room's tight knit. I feel good. Again, when people start calling for uh Kyle Shanahan's head, again, my fandom, it doesn't make sense because I lived through Mike Singletary. I lived through Nolan. I lived through the dark days. I lived through Tom Sula. I lived through Kelly. I lived through the going to the mountaintop and it crashing down instantly. We've done that like 3 times. So for me, that's why maybe I'm not as quick to like hop on the first like emotional like, oh, we didn't have a good game, so we got to fire everyone. Like, man, I remember having bad years. Like, not a bad game, bad years. So for me, it's just different. I look at things, I think, through that lens of, man, I've been through so much worse as a fan of the 49ers than what is going on right now. Like, this is cake, man. We're arguing about Trey Lance or Tom Brady. One of them is retired. We are arguing about a quarterback who's 45 years old, who's officially retired. Is he going to come in and be? This is fun to me. I'm having a blast. People are getting real upset about this. You see it in the comments. You'll see it on Twitter. You'll see it on comment section on Facebook. Quarterback. Bro, I'm having fun. Like, I'm having a blast talking about this stuff. Like, oh, tomorrow it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, and the next day it's going to be Russell. Good. Fun. More stuff for us to talk about. More stuff for us to talk about. Good times. Good times. And again, that's what this is. These episodes, they're little chunks of perspective. That's it. That's all we're trying to do. Just trying to bring perspective to the front. That's it. That's it. And yes. And we're going to find out. We're going to find out if there's any truth to it. We're going to find out. But guess what? We're along for the ride. We are along for the ride. Clint, I appreciate that. He says, keep up the good work. Love your love for the team. I freaking love. Let's go. Again, I say it all the time. I'm not a reporter. I'm something that they can't quantify. I'm something that they can't quantify. They haven't figured out to figure that. Is he an aggregator? Is he a reporter? They don't know what I am. And guess what? You're not going to know what I am until I am what I am. So it's fine. Say what you want about me. Do whatever. We're a different breed over here. They're not ready for the SDS, bro. They're not ready for this ginger beard and the SDS squad behind them. They're not ready. They're not ready. Don't worry about us. Don't worry about us. We'll be off in the wings of YouTube, building a revolution. Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So yeah. You guys have any plans this weekend? What are you guys doing this weekend? Are you scouting this weekend? Are we watching college tape? What are we doing? I don't know what I'm doing yet. But which era was worse? Which era was worse? Which era was worse? Uh, Nolan Singletary or Tom Sula, Chip Kelly? Which one was worse? Which one was worse? I'm just saying. Oh, you see it, bro. You see the flow. Woo! 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 Ain't no other reporters got flow like this, boy. Woo! Look at that. Woo! Woo! Flow for days. All right, let's see what we got. appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. Another member of the Sourdough Squad. Right now we got who was worse, Erickson or Chip? I would say Erickson because I the Chip Kelly era to me is peak bulky. I think Chip could have been successful. I think he could have. I think bulky was the problem though. I'm not saying Chip would have like been this great coach and none of that, but I know Chip's scheme well enough to understand he can at least be functional and actually put up numbers in a scheme that he had, but the talent that they had was God. Oh, Singletary gave me hope. Facts, big facts. Kelly for sure. Or I'm sorry, Singletary gave me hope for sure, for sure. Chip, they cheated Singletary out of his time. 2009 to 2010, he went 14 and 18 with a trash team. Yet he drafted Willis Bowman, Ayupati, Goldson, Willis, Vernon, Davis. Then you hire Harbaugh and take his cred. Well, I will say this. So this is a nice, fun discussion. This is kind of a nice, fun discussion because we know coaches typically don't draft um, players. That's why you have your general manager. Again, we come down Bulky's road, but to give proper credit for Willis Bowman, no, was Bowman, Willis at least, Goldson, Vernon were Scott McLuhan draft picks. So that team that Bulky and Harbaugh took over was actually built by Scott McLuhan. Scott McLuhan, one of the best talent evaluators in the NFL, he got into some trouble, I think, off the field. Staley was a part of them. Frank Gore was a part of them. McLuhan drafted Gore. Scott McLuhan built that team. Thank you. Bulky ruined that team. So that's that. When it came to the players, Scott McLuhan built that team that we saw be successful. Bulky and Harbaugh took it over and ran it into the ground, essentially. I mean, they got some out of it. You know, they made 3 NFC championships in a row. That's absolutely getting something out of it, but they just weren't able to get the touch. They weren't able to get the Super Bowl. But yeah, back to that conversation about like, could they have given Singletary more time? Potentially. You could make the same exact argument about Tom Sula. Tom Sula won 6 games in the middle of a dumpster fire. That's pretty impressive. That is pretty when you think about it. The reason why we hated it so much is because we just went to 3 NFC championship games in a row and we expected Super Bowls. There's a reason we hated that 6-10 year, but if you really look at it and you're like, Tom Sula went 6-10 with who during what time? That's actually pretty impressive. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to throw that out there. The Nolan Singletary era was good at evaluating, terrible at coaching. Yes. I'm doing some do-it-yourself stuff around the house. Well, keep vibing, doing your stuff around the house on this Friday, getting ready for the weekend. And I agree with you, Jedi. I agree. They were good at getting the players. It was coaching them up that I think was hard to do. I think that was the hard part. Um, but yeah, McLuhan did well in Washington as well. And see, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's so much stuff, man. See, we got some real fans in here. We got some real ones. We got real ones. They know they lived it. They lived it. They know. I like this one. So I think now we got a pretty damn good sample size. Like pretty good. And I think this is a great question. I think this is a great question. Which era is better, Jim Harbaugh or Kyle Shanahan? Now, I think this one could get a little wild. I think it could. And like up that dang video while you're at it. Like up that video. You know what to do. And then answer this question. Jim Harbaugh or Kyle Shanahan? Because boy, you can go in so many different directions. Let's set the stage first. The stage, like we talked about, Scott McLuhan, whoever was in that brain trust drafting the players did a great job of building talent. Fantastic. And when Harbaugh came in with Bulky, it was already there. It was already prime. You had Staley, you had Gore, you had Willis, you had Goldson, you had ballers after baller across the team. And then when it came to Harbaugh and Bulky, it was finishing it. Drafting Ayupati, drafting Anthony Davis, drafting Bowman. Who else did they draft? Say what you want about Kendall Hunter. Kendall Hunter was a very important piece to that offense. They brought in Whitner, brought in Carlos Rogers. They had to sign Justin Smith in. They ended up drafting Alden Smith. So the team was pretty set up when Harbaugh took over. And Harbaugh brought that mentality where they didn't really have a good locker room. And he brought the locker room presence and brought those players together. And he brought a specific system which relied on defense and running the ball, no turnovers, and scoring field goals if you had to. So, but then on the other side of it, Kyle and John took over a dumpster fire. There was no talent. They had to actually get rid of Kaepernick, get rid of Navarro Bowman. They had to get rid of all the players that didn't belong there. They brought in other players that were like holding guys, Alfred Morris and Pierre Garcon. It's different. So, but you got Kyle with 2 NFC Championship appearances, 1 win. You have Jim Harbaugh with 3 in a row, 2 wins, no Super Bowls. You got 1 Super Bowl appearance on each side. So from a actual achievement standpoint, they're pretty equal. And so when I look at the context of each team and how it was built, I credit Kyle more in the sense he had to do it all himself. Like there was no help. There was no oh, I'm taking over a half decent roster. I just got to add this guy, one good draft, and boom. So I look at it from a situation of I've seen Kyle build. I've seen him draft core players, Fred Warner's, George Kittle's, um, brought in Kyle Juszczyk. You draft Debo Samuel. Like, so you draft Bosa. Like, he's pretty much built his team. Um, and, 2017 was a wash. So I knew that was a wash. Um, but again, context matters. If Kyle Shanahan took over that team in 2012, like based on when they each took over the 2017 version of Kyle Shanahan and his staff took over that 2012 2011 roster, does Kyle get fired? Ask yourself that question in today's Friday hypothetical. In today's Friday brain twister. Does Kyle Shanahan get fired after taking over that roster that Jim took over? Just saying. Just saying. One got fired, one's still here, one built from the scratch, one took over a pretty locked and loaded, ready to go team. Just saying. Just saying, it's context matters. Yeah. God, every 49er fan's worst nightmare, not running Frank Gore from the dang 5-yard line. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Crazy. So, I don't know. Based on the context, I kind of like what Shanahan has done more. The reason part of it too is we saw Kaepernick crumble under Harbaugh. We saw Kaepernick crumble and fade away into the distance under Harbaugh and Greg Roman. Again, back to revisionist history time. I think a lot of people forget how much of the fan base threw Colin Kaepernick in the trash. Clearly, revisionist history has changed since a certain point in time. But before that certain point in time, that's why I love like listening. The Kaepernick situation is so fascinating to me because I was like literally one of the last Kaepernick believers of the entire fan base, because I would listen to radio show after radio show, them saying, get Kaepernick out of here. Fans calling in saying Kaepernick's ass, he's trash, he's garbage. Boom. And I'm getting furious because Kaepernick was a draft crush of mine. And so he was my favorite player before he was a 49er. Then the 49ers drafted him. Then he had he was my guy. And you guys see how I go to bat for my guys. So Kaepernick was my guy. And I watched the entire fan base turn on that man. I saw and rightfully so. He was playing really bad down the stretch of his career before the situation happened. And I watched the entire fan base just do what they always do. Again, I've seen this fan base have a franchise quarterback and then throw him in the trash. So the stuff that's happening with Trey Lance and the stuff that's happening with Tom Brady and the thoughts of Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo, it's par for the course, man. It is par for the course. This fan base just won't be happy until they get the ring. And whoever brings them the ring will be the hero. But until you get that damn ring, that 6th ring, you're going to be asked to this franchise. I swear to you. I've seen it happen time and time again. So I fault Kaepernick's development or lack of development on Harbaugh and Roman. The lack of evolution in the offense, because if you guys remember, in 2014, they decided they were going to have a brand new offense. They were going to come out, they were going to get away from the old school smash mouth, two tight ends, fullback, just run it down your throat with Frank Gore. They were going to evolve. They were going to become more of an offense that was suited to Kaepernick's skill set, because Kaepernick came from the pistol at Nevada, and he was a dual threat guy. He was that guy that, he was just too early. He was honestly too early. He was too early. And they tried to fit the offense around him. Remember 2014, came out against Green Bay. Kaepernick threw for 4 touchdowns, 400 yards that week 1 game. And we were like, I was like, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. They're changing the offense. They're building it towards Kaepernick's strengths. Week 2, go up to Seattle, and that was, I think, the Vernon Davis game where they literally snatched our soul. We went into Seattle and they snatched our soul, and they completely reverted back to their old style ways, and that was it. That's all she wrote. All she wrote. Kaepernick went down, Harbaugh went down, Roman went down. The whole thing just went and torpedoed. And that was it. So this is crazy to try to bring it full circle, because clearly I just went on a huge rant about, my experiences being a fan of this team. But it comes full circle because it doesn't matter if it's Alex, it doesn't matter if it's Kaepernick, it doesn't matter if it's Steve Young, it doesn't matter if it's Joe Montana, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter who it is. They just want the ring. If you get the ring for this franchise, you will be a hero forever. But not until you get that ring. Not until you get that ring. So, I don't know. I at least like that through 5 years with Kyle, we're kind of at a steady pace. Like, we at least went to the NFC Championship game last year. So I feel better about where we are right now with Kyle than, Harbaugh wasn't even coaching the team this far in. He wasn't. But yeah, so perspective, right? Back to the word perspective. Fans carry different perspectives. But at the end of the day, just get them the ring. Get them the ring, and they will talk about you forever. You won't have to buy a meal in San Francisco Bay Area ever again. You get that ring, that's it. That's it. But we've been through too much hurt for optimism. This fan base has been too hurt to be optimistic. They're too hurt to be optimistic about a damn thing. That's why the whole Trey Lance conversation is what it is. That's why. It's just there's no optimism. We've been to the mountaintop. We've been so close. We know we're better than what the outcomes have been. So there is no benefit of the doubt. There is no, well, they're good and they're going to get it next year. No, because we've been there. I was that guy. That when Kaepernick lost the Super Bowl, I'm like, oh, he's only going to get better. He's only going to learn from this. He's only going to take this experience and be able to get even better from it. Well, that didn't turn out to be right. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Just get us a ring. Just get us a dang ring, please. And then everything will be kumbaya around here. Honestly, Do you see anything else uniting 49er fans other than a Super Bowl ring? Is there a quarterback? Is there a player? Is there a coach that can do that? Or is, in fact, the only thing that will bring the San Francisco 49ers fan base together is a sixth ring? Feels like that. Feels like that. So, hey, I'm excited. But this is where I'm at. Give me the damn ring. We could have had it. We could have been cruising. Oh, man. My precious. Just give us the ring. No, don't give it to us. Let me clear that up. I don't want it given. I do not want it given. I want to take it. I want it to be done in a very specific way. I want it to get done in the sense of this team gives 0 F's about anything, and they just walk in and they said, that's our trophy. Give it to me. And they take it. You're not going to give it to me? Fine. We'll take it. Screw everything. Just go get the damn ring, please. Please. That's all we want at the end of the day. That's what all this arguing, that's what all this dissension, that's what all this differencing of opinions really boils down to. And that's why it's hilarious to watch. Mother effers know on both sides. They don't give a hell who is the quarterback as long as they're winning a dang championship. Don't care. Do I want Trey Lance to be successful? 100%. You invested in him. You paid the premium to get him. He's got the raw traits and intangible tools to be one of the best quarterbacks in this league. You see the baseline, okay? And if that means if you can develop him and get us a championship, great. But if you have different plans for getting a championship, well, great too. Because that's all we want at the end of the day. That's all we want. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we'll continue to talk about it. That's why we'll keep arguing about it. Science says, great memory lane trip. Niners didn't help Cap. No, they did not. As Roman didn't create a game plan tailored to Cap. No, and they're going through the same exact thing with Lamar Jackson. He can't evolve schemes. He can have a scheme and execute said scheme, but when it is time to evolve said scheme based on how defenses are playing your quarterback, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. So, yeah, I had big beef with Greg Roman there at the end. Big beef. Big beef. The Jedi says, Trey is Frodo. It's his mission. My precious. My precious. Roman got to step down from coaching. Hey, you remember when Trent Baalke's daughter threw shade at Greg Roman while Greg Roman was still coaching for the 49ers? Oh my God. What a time to be alive. What a time. Technically, Frodo throws the ring away. Oh, man. I have not. The name has popped out. I have not watched him yet. So let's head into our Friday night. Think about that ring. Thinking about the 6th. Remember, when you start getting upset about the quarterback position, you start getting angry, and you want to either defend Jimmy, you want to defend Trey, you want to get Tom Brady, you want to get Aaron Rodgers. Just remember that when you're potentially arguing with someone about who you want at quarterback, just remember deep down, you guys are both the same. deep down at the end of the day, what you really want is a ring. And if we can just remember that deep down, we just want a ring. We just want the sixth. Whether that comes on the back of Trey Lance, whether that comes on the back of Jimmy Garoppolo, whether that comes on the back of Jeff Garcia, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We just want the ring. So let's not argue and get crazy about, oh, Jim, Trey, Tom. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the 49ers trot out week 1 and where it goes from there. And I feel and hope it is Trey Lance, but that can change in a heartbeat. The reason why we talk about the Tom Brady is because I can't say never and then say that's never going to happen. Correct? So can't say never and then say that's never going to happen. So context, perspective, we thrive on that on this channel. If you're not coming with context, if you're not coming with perspective, then I'm sorry, we probably don't want to talk to you. And we probably don't want you in our chat. But if you are willing to accept those things, that all things have context and they all are dripping with your perspective, that is differentiating from the other person you're speaking to, we can get along just fine. Because at the end of the day, we want winners. That's it. We just want winners. We just want to win. We just want to win. Whether it's just want to win. 49ers, yes. Hopefully. That's the end goal. We were getting close. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo. We were getting close. So very excited. Very, very excited. Jay Tran says, "Were you referring to politics?" I don't do politics. I don't do politics at all. Not even close. It's a straight up non-starter. There's enough politics in football that I can't stand. That nope, can't do it. Someone starts talking politics around me. I pull out the straight Singletary. Can't do it. Don't care. Start plugging my ears like la, 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 la. I don't do that. That's too many things come along with that. But anyways, it's been fun. This week has been peak off season. And like, if you're new to the channel, if you're kind of new to maybe kind of potentially following the off season this in depth, you're going to be able to pick up the trends. You're going to start to understand the evolution of the offseason. So as you can see, there are going to be random things. There's going to be random things that come up. There may be correlation. There may be not. There may be an effect. There may be not. But we are going to talk about it so we can identify it, address it. That way, if it comes back, further on down the road, we can be like, we have a reference point. We're like, oh, hey, remember when that happened? So that's what this offseason is going to be like. Clearly, we're going to sprinkle in a lot more draft. We're going to sprinkle in a lot more free agency. We're going to get back to the football. But as you can see, rumor season, baby. Smoke season is alive and well. It's hard to see through the smoke these days. So that's why the smoke chasers are here. Smoke chasers are here to chase it down. Smell it. Is it real? Is that real smoke? Is that fake smoke? We'll see. So we're on our journey, ladies and gentlemen. We are on our journey. I think we are like officially like 2 or 3 weeks in. Oh, it's spicy already. So I'm very excited to continue to see what we'll be talking about next week. Very excited to see what we'll talk about next week. Shout out Ellis. Shout out everyone who sent your boy a super chat. Appreciate you. Shout out if you were just vibing with us in the chat. We appreciate you. I'm not going to pull that one up onto the screen, Luke. Good Friday, man. I think that was a very appropriate Friday show. just going crazy. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. Because it's just getting started. This was really felt like the first week of peak offseason mode. Next week's probably going to be just as crazy. So stay tuned. Hit that sub button. Hit the bell if you haven't already. Smash the like. Join the SDS squad because we are still undefeated. As always. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Barring any craziness this weekend, I will see you Monday around our normal time, 1:32. And got a bunch of jokesters in the chat. I love it, man. Love it. Guys, vibes are immaculate. See you guys on Monday. You guys have a great, great weekend. Smoke it up if you got it. Drink it if you have to. Or just vibe. Doesn't matter. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a good one. See you on Monday.